I've spent years in Star Citizen, watching it stall, stumble, and occasionally shine, but 2025 has been a refreshing change, and that's pulled me deeper into the verse than I've been in a long time. And it's the catalyst for me being active on YouTube again. I'm passionate about it. But let's not kid ourselves, it's still rough in places. Progress doesn't mean perfection, and anyone who's spent time in Star Citizen knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, I love this game. That doesn't mean I ignore the jank, I see it. There's a misconception that liking something means you defend it no matter what. That polarization isn't reality. I just think we can talk about what's broken and what's working without losing the plot, or making it the primary monetization engine for a channel. So today, let's talk for real. What still sucks about Star Citizen, and what doesn't? I want to hear what's keeping you excited, or what's making you pull your helmet off and scream into the void. And yeah, if you like these videos, a like and sub helps a ton. I hate asking, but that's YouTube. The flight model. Master modes landed in May 2024 with patch 3.23 and immediately split the community like a cracked canopy. Personally, I like the idea. Seeing your target at range, slower, more reactionary combat. But the execution? It's not there. The fact that CIG has already confirmed another flight model is in the works says it all. After 13 years, they're still experimenting. That's rough. And honestly, I've never cared much about true 6 degrees of freedom realism. Hard sci-fi isn't inherently fun, it pretty much shits all over the concept of science fiction. In my opinion, it needs to be aspirational with tech that pushes the limits of what we can do. Even The Expanse, which billed itself as hard sci-fi, had to invent tech to keep things moving like the Epstein drive or the proto-molecule. Personally, I'd love to see a Star Wars-style flight model, atmospheric flight in space, tight cinematic dogfights, something accessible that still rewards skill. Much easier to balance and less silly than the turning, orbiting battles we had in 2.0. But hey, maybe you disagree. What kind of spaceflight do you want? Let's hash it out in the comments. The economy is busted. Making credits is almost too easy now. Trade routes, missions, events like Jumptown, it's not rare to rack up $1 million in an hour. That might sound great, but when progression becomes trivial, it removes the point of grinding altogether. I'm not saying it's a problem that a new player can go from a starter ship to buying something in-game that costs $300 in real money after just a few hours of play. But I get why that rubs some people the wrong way. Begging in general chat works so well because people have enough credits that throwing someone $5 million here or there doesn't even move the needle. All of that is indicative of the problem with the current economic gameplay. We haven't heard a peep about StarSim, previously Quanta, in years. Tony Z left the company and that was supposed to balance the back end. Right now, we're space billionaires with nothing to buy. Base building, crafting, and long-term investment systems like resources with quality stats need to fill that void. Until then, we're playing space Monopoly without the houses. That's why Wicklow is there. His RNG rewards provide a different gameplay experience than credit grinding. Love it or hate it, at least they're addressing it, sort of. Personally, I hate it. AI and the jank that comes with it. Here's the deal. Server meshing helped sometimes. I've got B-roll from 4.0 PTU servers showing bustling bars packed with functioning NPCs. It was wild. It felt like everything they've been saying for years about how the NPCs and subsumption would work could be a real thing, but that performance degrades fast in the live environment, and until we get dynamic server meshing, the servers just can't keep up. Give it a couple hours on a busy server and suddenly NPCs are group huddling in spawn closets like they're planning a union. The potential is there. On fresh servers, AI are deadly and dynamic, and Squadron 42's AI is next level. It will hunt a player in search patterns and try to flank you from multiple angles. Terrifying stuff. If that makes it to the PU with dynamic meshing, PvE and Star Citizen could become a pillar of the experience, but we just don't know when it's going to happen, and until then we have jank. Player interaction, UI, and inventory clunkiness. Looting? Improved kinda. But the new UI still feels like it belongs in a single-player game, because it does. It's the Squadron 42 inventory system slapped on top of the old one we had. It probably works in a single-player adventure with limited items to loot, but it doesn't address the MMO's needs. The old inventory terminal UI hasn't meaningfully changed since it was implemented. Even a search feature would be a welcomed addition, let alone the full rework it needs. The Mobiglass? It's from 2015 and it shows. They've teased a rework for ages and new ways to get mission contracts, but it's still MIA. And interacting with objects, you still have to be exactly the right distance away, or you're clicking air. It's tedious, it's slow, and it breaks immersion every time. It's pretty clear the UI team's workload is a major bottleneck in the verse, and a lot of teams need to demand their time. Probably Squadron 42 most of all, but we'd see much better progress if this team could grow or close out their squadron commitments. Empty World Syndrome. The verse is massive, beautiful. Nothing in gaming looks like this, especially not at this scale, but it's also mostly empty. Outside of landing zones and key points of interest, entire planets can feel like matte paintings. In 2024, CIG promised procedural world population tools, NPC settlements, fauna, ambient life, all that good stuff were coming soon. But we haven't seen any of it yet in 2025, nor have we heard anything on the progress. To get there, we'll need Planet Tech V5, dynamic server meshing, Maelstrom, and probably base building too. It's all interconnected, which means it's all delayed together. Who knows when we'll actually see it. Ground vehicles are a hot mess. In Star Citizen, driving isn't just dangerous, it's a D20 roll with physics, and you've got a -3 modifier in terrain handling. Every bump's a gamble, every hill a skill check, and if you fail the roll, hope you packed a med pen and a crime stat excuse. Hit a rock the wrong way and you're doing cartwheels into the stratosphere or exploding, then it's just
game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now?
Even the recent fix for the infamous Love Shack shake bug isn't enough. We need two things: a reason to use ground vehicles and a complete ground vehicle physics overhaul that makes them feel grounded, pun intended. Right now, unless it has a medical bed, you're better off walking. The hover vehicles are better, but not by much. They need rework to ensure that after you take a jump off the terrain, they still repel the ground when you land. I've gone boom way too often in them as well. Let's flip the script for a second, and some things finally are clicking into place. And yes, that's a shorter list than we'd like, but it's growing. So let's talk about the wins. Monthly patches are a game changer. 4.2 just dropped. 4.2.1 is already in PTU, and that's not just version number soup, that's actual progress fast. We're seeing a release cadence that feels modern, stable, purposeful. This is new territory. For years we were lucky to get 3, maybe 4 updates in a good year. Now, every month brings new content, bug fixes, balance passes, and polish. Sure, not every patch is a headline, but the tempo matters. And more importantly, it means CIG isn't treating live play like an afterthought anymore. They're shipping, fixing, iterating. And that's how trust gets rebuilt. Performance isn't a meme anymore. Remember when 30Ks were just part of the experience? When you'd crash to desktop and go, yeah, that's Star Citizen? Those days aren't completely gone, but we've entered a new era, one where you can actually play without holding your breath. Servers recover from errors, and you're not likely to just lose everything anymore. FPS in bunkers is stable, dogfights don't tank your frame rate. Even mid-tier rigs are holding 30 to 60 FPS in cities and 70 plus in space. It's not perfect, there's still tons of optimization work to do, and a new Vulkan-only client is on the way. But performance is no longer the joke that writes itself. It's stable enough to build confidence. Ships are actually coming online. Not all of them, don't get carried away, but the pipeline is moving. Slowly but surely, the concept backlog is being whittled down, and we're seeing more straight-to-flyable releases now than ever before. Yeah, that's a contentious statement. If you're still waiting for your merchantman, I feel your pain there. Say what you will, but the ship team is the best pipeline in the game currently. It's the backbone of CIG's revenue, so that makes sense. But in terms of quality, trust me, you wanted your ship delayed until now. Every ship they release is better in terms of layout, quality, and overall style than they used to be. If it came out years ago, chances are it's not up to the current polish or consideration they now bake into these ships. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mercury Star Runner. Yes, I'm still immensely disappointed in you. I'd make a joke about finally understanding how my dad feels, but it probably wouldn't land, right? I've got my eyes on the RSI Galaxy, still in development, but it feels like it could finally scratch that Millennium Falcon itch, modular, crude, multi-role, with just enough character to make you want to park it in a hangar and call it home. What about you? What ship is the one you're most excited about? Let me know in the comments. Or better yet, tell me what's missing from your dream build. Events and gameplay loops are starting to matter. Let's talk about loops. They're still incomplete. We all know that. But we're finally at a point where gameplay systems are connecting just enough to feel like a game. Not a demo, not a testbed, a real playable sandbox. Stormbreaker in 4.2 is solid, an immensely unique experience if you're willing to pay the PvP tax. Hathor Station from 4.1, genuinely cool, and more importantly, unexpected. Dynamic missions, cargo updates, salvage viability, these aren't small changes. They're the bones of what could become a proper ecosystem. Mining is the first gameplay loop that feels finished. There's always a bug to smash, but being able to sell ores separate from the ship was the one thing it was missing. Add in player-owned refinery ships, and it's the first bona fide finished piece of content when they finally arrive. We still need engineering. We still need real industry. But the direction is clear now. CIG is giving us reasons to log in, explore, and stick around. For the first time in a long time, you can fire up the game without a to-do list and still find something worth doing. The Starmap rework was overdue, and it delivered. Let's be real. The old Starmap was a UI war crime. Slow, janky, unsearchable. Half the time you didn't know if it was bugged or if you just missed the pixel you were supposed to click. The new one? Actually usable. You can search for destinations, you can set quantum travel easier, you can zoom in and out with confidence that the map won't spontaneously self-destruct. And best of all, planetary surfaces are finally integrated into the nav tools. That means you can navigate giant FPS mission zones like the giant distribution centers without feeling like you need an architect degree. Are there still problems? Yeah. Compass inconsistencies are maddening. 2 players, same position, totally different readings, and we still can't share waypoints, which feels like a pretty basic social feature in 2025. But it's progress. Real progress. Navigation no longer makes me want to chew drywall. We'll take it. So what about you? What's the one thing that keeps you coming back? And what's the one thing that still pushes you away? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments, and I'll see you in the verse.